Why'd you play Crypto Lunch Break?
Hey everybody, it's just in the video with the, it's like a little thing.
Whoops. We don't know what's happening today.
It's True Tuesday no matter what. No matter
I
what
don't know.
True Tuesday with.
You've got to turn that music off or I'm going to lose my mind.
It's so
I can't stand that. That's so bad.
annoying there, isn't it? Wait.
I don't know what's happened to the show.
I can't get to it. Why can't I get to it?
I don't know.
Not in that section. That was, I was like, we're stuck.
Sean's taken over the show and everything's upside down. It says,
"Oh my."
Okay.
There's music going on.
We're good now. We're good.
We're eating lunch at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I usually do that sometimes at like 2 a.m. It's like a crypto midnight snack. All right, we're here with the hilarious Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and the beautiful Satoshi Sean.
I'm just cracking people up right and left. I did do a little skit with Westwood, only he was cracking me up so much that I couldn't say the lines right.
That was so good. I love you. I do. I love you very much. But
I'm so funny.
He was Oscar quality, and you were good. But
no, I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, he was like, blah, 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 blah. And you were like, yes, let us blah, blah, blah. It's like,
because I kept laughing.
It was good.
Yeah. And I can't take him serious when he acts like that. Like when he's a very good actor. He gets very much in character.
Yeah.
And then he just runs with it. Yeah.
It was pretty hilarious.
It's pretty epic. Yeah. We'll probably show it on Friday, I'm sure.
We have lots of people. TPA is here. Good to see you there, buddy.
Why can I not see them?
They're in the chat. Are you on the right? Are you on the comments? Or are you on the inside comments? Or
I'm on comments. Is it not showing my comments?
No, it is. On the side, are you on comments or the private
I'm on
chat?
Comments. But it's not showing me everybody's comments.
It should be.
It only shows me Tom, you, and mine.
You don't see Chef Jeff?
Nope.
Well, there's Chef Jeff.
So I can only see it if you put it up on the screen.
Well, that's weird. Whatchamacallit's acting weird. Are you looking? You're looking in the StreamYard, right?
Yeah, I think I'm in on the wrong login, or on the wrong, what's it called, browser.
Well, don't worry. Everyone's here.
Okay.
JDO's here.
You just have to keep putting their comments up so I can see, because otherwise I can't see it.
Click off the private chat. I know
I'm not on the private chat. No.
Okay, well, we're going to get started.
We're trying to do some things a little different.
We're definitely having fun. Definitely having fun. We're glad that y'all are here. We're glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
We love you all.
I'm used to being in control, and I'm a little control freak, and so this is throwing me off my game a little bit.
Stay with me.
Bear with us.
You're much better than Rice. Rice, he couldn't handle it. There's no way. He's so much of a control freak. I love him, but he's much hardcore. I have been looking forward to hanging out with you this week. I really, really have missed you.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well.
Okay, so are you looking at the chat? No, she's looking at the chat.
I can't look at the chat.
She's looking at the chat in the StreamYard, which puts both of our chats together. So she should see everything on mine and everything on hers. So StreamYard's, I don't know, but StreamYard's being weird.
Maybe if I use, I might bail and come back again in another browser and see if it.
You can do that.
What if I try that?
You can do that. There we go. Okay.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right here. Elliot. I'll be right here. Yeah, that was weird. It was from the movie E.T., if you remember. Back in the day. We got lots of fist bumping going on. All right. There is Lisa.
Now I can see everybody's chat. Okay. That was very weird.
Miss technology there. Fixing everything.
That's it.
Great movie. It was. I haven't seen that in so long.
Because I'm not only the funny one, I'm the smart one on this episode.
Okay. I'm just here for eye candy.
You're just there for the looks, Sean.
For all the female.
You just let me handle it.
Female viewers we have.
Let me handle it from here. All right, there, sweet cheeks. So we were talking earlier about, so we sold the car today, my little pride and joy.
Yeah, which is a bittersweet thing.
It is. It's the right thing to do. I mean,
it's bitter because you're selling what you like, what you are happy with, but it's sweet because you're going to get some sweet crypto.
Yeah, and cryptos are, blood in the streets, right. The market's in the toilet. But man, that was hard to watch.
Yes, I'm the beautiful Satoshi Sean. Thank you, Phil. Funny and smart. Can't tell us apart. She's the blonde. I'm the bald. I do. You shave my head, actually. It's getting long.
You're going to shave your head?
I shave my head all the time. Like every 3 days.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Now we're learning your beauty secrets.
There's a hilarious video, and it's you won't get it because you're, female and attractive, but it's like a chunky dude, and he's kind of balding, and then it's like everyone picks on him, and his kids don't respect him, and his life is terrible. His boss is a mean asshole, and he's like, "What can you do?" It's like an infomercial, and it's like, "Shave your head and grow a goatee," and then it's like. Everyone freaks out. It's like, people don't know. Are you from the future? Are you a badass? Are you a psycho? And it's funny commercial. I should find it and play it. But yeah,
you're right. I don't get it.
Yeah, because if you're a heavier dude or you're going bald, you shave your head and grow a goatee, and that's how you're able to keep your manliness now. It's a secret. Oh. I shouldn't tell that. I'm sorry, man.
I did not know.
You're gonna get that male stormtrooper.
Well, Bruce Willis did that. He was the one. I remember That was back like before Mike Tyson started biting people's ears or anything, and we would watch those.
It's a measurement of history now.
It is a measurement of history.
Like BC, AD, Mike Tyson biting ears.
Mike Tyson biting people's ears. We used to get those fights all the time, and we'd have parties and people come over and watch the fights, and I remember when Bruce Willis came in and he had that first shaved head, and I was like, damn, that is hot. Like, that's what men should do when you start losing your hair. Like that looks good. Yeah, he was fit, and he was like shaved his head, and I don't know if he had a goatee then.
No, he never did. Only in the Mirror Universe.
But he had stubble,
didn't he? Some people
I don't know what that means. Yeah.
I know. It's funny. It's a mirror universe. It's in Star Trek, when there's this other universe, but all the evil people that are the same as you, they're just like you said, they have goatees. That's how you know they're evil. So if they come over from that universe and you're like, hey, you have a goatee? Yeah, sure. Everything, and then they start killing people and all. It's hilarious.
That sounds hilarious. Okay.
It's pretty good. Tears of the Sun. Bruce Willis was hot. I own that and I haven't watched it.
I think I've seen that one.
It's long. It's like an epic, big, kind of movie. So I haven't watched it because it's a serious one. But I should. Bruce Willis used to be my favorite actor when I was a younger man. He was my favorite.
I feel like he's a good guy.
Yeah, it's sad about his current situation, but
Oh, I don't know his current situation.
oh, he was in like every movie, and they were
Yeah.
trash. They were all trash, and he was not great in them. I mean,
He
like
got to where he was doing like really dumb ones though,
right,
where they were like,
they're all the same. Like literally, two or three of them were the same movie. He was
yes,
going into space fighting a monster,
yes,
and like they
with
were
a
in the
girl
same
who
boat.
like talked without talking, or
But
yeah,
they're
more
he was
plastic
doing like 3
stuff.
movies a month were coming out, and
Hmm.
then it came out that he has this disease where and there's two kinds of things on this. One, but I don't think it's nefarious. I think
Well, you know I do.
yeah, he probably will. So everyone's like, and then things start coming out that people were forcing him to like take any movie to get the check, because his mind is going. He's losing his mind. He's losing
Oh,
his physical um, abilities. So he's going to die soon. He has this disease,
oh,
but he's losing control of his faculties. So
okay.
he's taking any job, just putting trash out there because he's trying to get as much money as possible before he can't work.
How much
But
money do you need? I mean, come
ex is
on.
meant to be more, and you have all these kids, and it's a whole different life. But anyway, then other people started talking about how like someone would like they were using him as a puppet. Somebody would force him to come to set. Somebody would bring him, like literally, like Joe, like the vice president. It's kind of like that. Like they would lead him, put him
Yeah.
here, give him the line, say this, and then they would take him, bring him to his trailer, sit him down, bring him back. So, but then there's people that say no, that's what he wanted. He wanted to do that. Yes, people were leading
Seems like
him around,
abuse.
but
Yeah.
he was yeah. It was, on one side it looks kind of like abuse. On the other side, it was his decision to try to get as much money for his family as he could. But anyway, it's sad no matter what. But that's why he was taking. And then with Nicolas Cage, he was doing that same reason. He needed money because he was so in debt, and they were like, the government was harassing his parents, and it was terrible. And he finally, he took shit jobs and did every movie, to where now he's able to. Everything's paid off, and he's free from his last movie. So
Okay, so let's have that conversation. You just said he's free, but
true, yeah.
so when your stuff owns you versus you owning your stuff or being free, or like my husband and I were just having this conversation this morning because we made this decision to get rid of the car and all that, and it was paid for, and so we're able to have some money to put into other things, and we're talking about what that looks like, and what decisions we're going to make together and all that.
That's one thing Economic Ninja says that I believe wholeheartedly and always have. Don't buy it if you can't afford it.
Right.
Save your money up and then pay cash.
Right.
Pay for something. If you,
Yeah.
I mean, and
And that way it doesn't own you.
Yeah, people
You
can't
own
afford to
it.
buy a mattress. I mean, if you have to get a loan or finance a mattress, dude, don't buy that mattress.
Yeah, that's
buy yourself something that is not as good and that you can buy off Amazon. Because you get these little payments, they'll eat you up, and then you don't own it. You don't own it. And if there's look at our financial situation now in the world, any kind of problem or hiccup.
I literally saw and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but this is what this credit system, this debt system, slave system that we live in is this problem, and they want us to be happy about it. There was a commercial last night. We're sitting there watching the car show that I was just telling you about. The what's it called? Top Gear is the latest car show that we've been watching, and this guy is like in a convenience store, and he's like eating a chocolate bar, and I don't know, then he realizes he doesn't have any money or something, or his credit card doesn't work, and so all of a sudden something comes up on his phone, and he like can apply for a Apple I think it's an Apple credit card right there on his phone or something ridiculous. And he applies for a credit card to buy a chocolate bar
Yeah.
and gets approved. And they show this as a big win for him. And he scans that and walks out of that convenience store with his credit that he's going to pay interest on a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a big win in society. And I'm just like, that has to be the biggest dumbing down
I
of the
was thinking
human
about this
race.
too, and it is mind blowing because I was thinking about this about how people trade their time and
Mhm.
their know how, whatever, for for value, and they store up this value for things that they need. I have a friend who is on vacation. She is in Mexico having a great time, but I mean, she had to work her butt off, and now she's just bleeding money. Like, I have DeFi.
Mhm.
It's not doing great, but when I sleep, I'm still making money. Right
Right.
now, I'm making money. Most people, they only make money as long as they're working.
Right.
They have to
Great.
be putting forth effort to get something.
And this is why I want to do those classes and I want
Yeah,
to teach people. And that's what I want to do with Mighty Siren is teach women how to find freedom through
right,
personal
right now,
responsibility and all that.
right now,
But Sean,
she's just bleeding money. She's
this
not
is
getting
why they are taking metals out of the system. This is why they want us off of even the paper dollar, because people don't realize when it's digital, they don't realize how much they're spending. But if you had to have,
that. Yeah,
um, if you had silver, I don't know where I've got some over there, but if you had silver in your hand or in your purse and your bag got lighter and lighter and lighter, you would notice that.
yeah, yeah.
You would notice your money was leaving you.
But
If you had
me and
those little
you,
papers in your purse,
we have a different mindset because to me, if I went on vacation and I knew that I had worked my butt off and then stored up all this value, and right now it's just bleeding. To me, that's the same as waking up and seeing the market just crashing and crashing
yeah,
and crashing, and I'm just losing money, and to me, it's the same
I'd be
thing.
sick.
I've
Yeah,
changed my way of thinking. It actually makes me nervous. If I didn't
yeah,
know that I had money coming in, well, my air conditioner's messed up. It's going to
right.
cost like $350. Not bad to get fixed. Can't fix it till
Thank
Friday.
goodness it was only, yeah,
I have this big portable air conditioner going now, and then the little window unit we have. I had to buy extra fans, and I was thinking this is going to raise my electric bill. My electric bill is like $700 this
oh
month.
my
Yeah,
gosh,
that's insane. But
wow,
but to think about that without having like DeFi coming in and and just money coming in from different streams, I would go insane. Like when I was working, I would have to be, oh, I got to work extra shifts now. So
yeah,
I would have to trade sleep. I would have to trade time for myself just to be able to have that electricity. Where now it's not that big of a deal. Um,
mm,
just it's so important to have these other avenues. But my point is, we're talking about slavery.
yeah,
I tell this all the time, but my nephew was talking about how we're not slaves. It's not like that. And I said, dude, you work. You go to someone and they say, hey, I need a job done, and you say, I will do this job, and they say, well, I will pay you this much money to do the job, and you say, well, I want this much money, and they say, okay, we'll meet you. I'll give you this much, and they're like, okay, that's fair. I will do that. Then you do the job. They give you the money, but before they can hand it to you, some guy comes in a black suit, takes the money, takes away a bunch of it, and then says, here, you can have this. I said, that's how taxes in the government work.
hmm,
And he's like, yeah, but what's going to happen is taxes. It's the way it is. And I said, well, what if that person took 50% instead of 30?
right.
He's like, oh, bullshit. Fuck that. I said, what would you do? Seriously. Now you be honest with me.
Yeah.
Would you go fight, the government, or would you just complain and then work like a couple extra hours?
Because what happens is the more you start, I know when, like when Charlie went to like 1 year, he earned like a lot more. And then they just took a lot more. It like put it in a different
Well, that's the thing.
percentage.
They just do whatever they
And
want.
I was like,
How do
holy
you have
shit.
control? How do you have control
And
over
you
your
don't get to
business?
say.
How do
Yeah.
you have control over your exactly? How do you have control
Yeah.
over your business if you can't pay someone what you want? How do you have control over
don't.
your value over your work if you don't get what you want?
Yeah.
If they can change it at any time, they can change. Your state could change it. We don't have a state tax here in Texas, but if they just said, hey, we're going to take 5% of that before you get your money, and they do all this before they let you have your money.
Mhm.
If that's not slavery, that's definitely close. They decide how much you get before you get your money.
Right.
It's
And then they spend that on
whatever they want.
whatever they
You're
want.
you're supposed to be in charge of that. It's literally
This
backwards.
money that's going to Afghanistan, and then we're asking for a review or audit of it, and they're refusing to do any kind of audit or let us know what it's being spent on. The money that's going to Ukraine, we're not allowed to know what that's going to or where it's being spent on. It's just going. We're not being told. We're not being asked. And we're just all supposed to be okay with it.
Jim brought up a thing about older vehicles. We're going to talk about older vehicles actually,
Yeah.
because so Lisa sold her. You're telling your story.
Well, yeah. She left today. So it was very sad, just because it was that thing. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but it was that thing, like, where we busted our ass for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have the value of it. In fact, they paid us more than what we paid for it. So
Yeah.
it was very, like, it was an emotional thing, because it was like oh wow, we made it. Especially when people give you so much shit about crypto, and they give you shit about what you're doing and all that. And it was kind of like a big,
Badge.
it was. And it was also a little humble brag too, because you don't have to say, like, oh, we made it and we're doing good and whatever. You just you quietly get in your really nice supercar and drive away, and they go, huh? And then it's like, oh, maybe she knows what she's talking about. Maybe she's not the dumb blonde that, that I want to think, or
I remember Brad Sherman was talking about, because he was talking about how people have more $100 bills now, and how they need to raise what the IRS reports. Basically, he has contempt for regular people because he's bought and owned by foreign banks. But he and other people in the government have said this. They think there's like elites, or people that should have lots of money. But if you're a regular person that isn't involved in one of those things, and you have a decent amount of money, they automatically say you're a criminal. It's like,
right.
he even said, I mean, people didn't have a bunch of $100 bills unless they were drug dealers or criminals. And that's the way that's a way of thinking. He actually said this.
Yeah, that's so bizarre to me.
That like people look at you driving a nice car, and if
assume you did something bad.
Exactly.
You think?
If you don't fit into whatever box they have in their mind, that's what.
So if you're not a doctor, a lawyer,
right,
whatever they think, then you must have done something.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was talking about the slavery thing. People, and my friend is down there having a great time in Mexico, but I know she's going to come back to nothing. All of her value that she stored up is gone. She's going to come back to probably owing to a hole and to stress. She's going to go and have a great time, and then come back to a ball of stress that she'll have to deal with. And
that's really sad. Yeah, people put themselves in that position.
It's sad to see her like they're fishing and happy, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, she has nothing coming in right now. She's just literally, all the stuff she's worked for so long is just now gone, and it's just bleeding away. Like in crypto, when we're working hard and we're building, a year from now we think it's going to be more. We think 5 years from now it's going to be
Right.
crazy more. It's always going to be more, whether you're hodl, whether you can trade, whether it's we look, the future
If
is
you can
always
get,
better.
yeah,
Um,
you hope.
but people are, and my nephew that he killed himself, Tony, which 2 days ago was his anniversary.
It's,
It's rough, but
yeah.
any kind of any kind of job or money, he'd always be like, "How much is that an hour? How much you get an hour? How much is that hour?" And it would always, it throw me, because I don't think in that smaller terms anymore. If there's any kind of like money to be made, or an investment or a project or a job, it's always like an end goal or a bigger result. And
Mm.
most people, they're able to they're so limited that they shrink everything down to the value of their work or of their effort, that it's by the hour. They can
Oh, wow.
that small, and that's a way of thinking. How much is that an hour? How much can I get an hour? And it's just it was just surprising for me to think that I haven't thought that way in so long. Where the value of something can be reduced to that small of
Well,
a number.
that's been training too. They've had people think in monthly. What can you afford monthly? What's your monthly payment? How much debt can you afford monthly? And
Mm.
I always remember thinking, like, what are they talking about? Like, you can't. What do you mean? How much payments can you afford monthly? Like, you either can
Yeah,
afford something or you
or you
can't
can.
afford something.
And I'm gonna
Um,
throw something to you, and you're
mhm.
gonna probably run with this, um, because it did bother me. So I have AT&T. I've had them for probably 15 years for our cell phones. Like, always had them. And my bill is due at the end of the month. And before, I mean, I had this when I was working a hourly job, a regular job,
Mhm.
and then it was due like on the 25th, 27th, and then I had 10 days usually before they would do anything. So I would pay it at the first of the month, second of the month, at the beginning of the month, or the last day of the month, whenever I had, got paid, forever. And if I was slow, the phones could get shut off on the 5th or the
Oh.
7th, because it was like 10
Mhm.
days. So was it yesterday or the day before? Ted comes in and he's like, "Dad, I think the phones are off." And true, I've been complaining about having money because everything's down so bad. And I'm like,
Right.
"Guys,
No,
I don't
it's
have much money."
terrible when you're really all into crypto and everything's down. The last thing you want to do is sell your crypto to be
Yeah,
paying bills or doing whatever. And that's where,
but
like,
AT&T turned our phones off,
oh, wow.
and now there's a $50 late fee for
Mm,
the phone. It's like 40 something dollars, which that sucks, and that's not a small amount of money for
mhm.
nothing. It's for absolutely nothing. Is it my fault?
Yeah, right.
Yes, it's because
And that's when they hit you, is when you're
but
down.
for 10 years, I've had like 10 days before there's anything done. And
Right.
then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, it's been 48 hours since it was due. We're cutting you off. You owe us another $50, and you can't pay it out. You got to pay the whole bill." So, but instantly I thought, why are they doing this when the world is in the shape that it's in? And like you just said, kicking people when they're down. Are
Mhm.
they trying to, like, are they on board? Are they trying to make people even more?
Not have
Are
contact.
Are they trying to? No, are they trying to suck? Oh yeah. Or are they trying to suck as much money as they can from people? Is that what's going to happen? Um,
Well,
I don't
so
know.
another big banker, I, I got to look at my Twitter feed to see who it was, but just left. And when they start bailing, that makes me nervous. Um, there was a lot of news today. Um, Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced for over 20 years. And who's the big banker that got, um, see, the generals are challenging West Point's woke ideology. the top Goldman Sachs M&A banker, Michael Carr, C-A-R-R, that name sounds familiar, retiring from the firm. So when they start bailing, typically that's a bad sign. And there was a big Judicial Watch just got another big breaking FOIA that exposed a lot of the Benghazi cover up. So that may start kind of rolling out some truth. I'll post that on my Patreon so you guys can read through that as well.
So I don't know. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know. I mean, Ted came in. He was like, and Alex was like, "Dad, we don't need phones for like $500 something a month." It's like, no, it's like, no, man. Everyone needs phones. We need our phones. I might pay for my stepdad's phone. So
why would they be that expensive?
We'll have 4.
Because the data use on it.
We have 5. We had 5 phones at like $60 a piece, $70 a piece, and then we got the unlimited data. So it all adds up. But then when they put the fees and everything in, it was a lot. And I'm like,
I wonder if they're trying to get you cut off so that then you have to re-up and then you lose like your grandfathered plan where you got the unlimited data and now you can't get the unlimited data or something.
I don't know. I've had serious crazy stuff. And that's what my nephew Tony, who died, he worked for AT&T, and I had an AT&T guy lie to me, straight up lied, got me in this plan, and then like 2 months later, I had this huge bill. I called them like, hey, all my bills went up, like it's almost doubled, and they were like, yeah, you had all these discounts you're not allowed to have. You had discounts for having like our cable and this and that. I'm like, the guy told me that he gave me all those discounts. I said that was supposed to be my bill. He goes, I said, I never told him I had that. I told him I didn't have that. They said no. So I got really pissed. They went and found the recording of the phone call from 2 months before, and they said, yeah, man, that guy lied to you about all this stuff. He set this up. It's all messed up. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna fix it now? Oh no, we can't. It's been 2 months. And I'm like, you just said that a guy, your rep, lied to me and did all this stuff behind my back. And they said, yeah, but it's been too long for us to fix, so you're stuck. You got to pay now.
That doesn't make any sense. What?
I said, that makes no sense whatsoever. You just admitted to wrongdoing.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault.
No consequence. No consequence for them.
Yeah. And they said, oh, sorry. So I had to call Tony, and he had to go in, and he was like, yeah, man, that's really weird. And then he fixed everything. But they do operate with no consequences. But let's go back to the car. Yeah, breach of contract. But the contract was fake. Oh, I should click on that. Breach of contract. Oh, that's not. There we go. Breach of contract. The contract was fake. Anyway, it's all paid for now. We're good. But soldier car, getting that. We're talking about cars.
Yeah, well, and the reason is because things are assets, right? And so that's where we had our video with Economic Ninja, and got to talk with him, and that's where he's talking about be smart about this and be prepared, not scared, and make sure that you're thinking about look at things as assets and look at what's important in your life. And what's important in my life is relationships. And, Carly and I talked about it on Monday, relationships and experiences. And, you can buy more supercars later, but right now the cryptos are in the tank, and I know that that's the future, and I believe that's the future. And so why wouldn't I take an asset that's up that they can't get and they're willing to give us all the money for? And I've had fun with it, and it was a great experience and all that, and invest in my family right now with that, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, we all say, oh, I wish I could get into this when it's cheaper. And that's something that I have a problem with. I have a problem with taking profits. I have a problem with holding cash or stable coins or whatever. Because I want
stable
to,
coins scare me to
I want
death.
to put money. I want to put it into something. I get,
Mhm.
I farm. I make so much money. I need a quarter of it, and the rest of it I could put into stable coins for later. But I usually just like reinvest, and it would. I right now I had very little money like saved up for buying the dip.
Yeah.
We had I went long right before the dip on Litecoin, on Ethereum, and BNB, and I've watched it just go, went down. But we had a big pump. It was up like $2,000. Yes,
Hmm.
2 days ago, and I was like, I really should sell all this because it's going to go back down. And then it's like, no, I'm just going to let it ride here until if I get it a little higher. And sure enough, boom, all that profit is now gone. I'm back to where it was, the week before. And I have to start doing that. I have to
You have to
start
start taking some
trading. I
profits.
got to start
Yeah.
trading the way it should be traded. If you're going to trade, which I'm on a 3x, so I should have taken the profit, pulled it out, and then now when it drops back down, I would be able to buy $2,000 more
Mm.
than I have right now. I'd have $2,000 more of the assets. So if I could give anyone advice, and it's not financial advice, it's just life advice, is take profits. Even, and I hear, my old friend Lee, uh, the Irishman, he'd always just yell at me. He's like, "It's money in your pocket, lad. Why are you taking it? It's money in your pocket." Because I would always do, I would when we're doing leverage, I would go too high. I would get all my all my all my tools right. I get everything set. I'm like, no, man, it's going to bounce here. It's going to go here, and I would make a ridiculous amount of money so fast. And he's like, take money, take your profit. I was like, no, because if I take half of it, then that's twice as much. I'll have less, and then boom, I would drop. I'd lose everything. So taking profits is part of trading. It really, really is. You've got to do it. And I am the worst. I'm the worst at it, and it has cost me. It's cost me more than anything else. Is not taking profits. It really has. I lost all my money, everything. And I lost my money because my friends um, screwed me over. Back around Christmas, I had made $1,000,000, and I lost $900,000 in 2 weeks um, because of pieces of crap in crypto. Um, and but it's my fault because when I hit that, and I wanted to hit 1,300,000, and then I was going to take out like $300,000, but I should have taken out more profits later. Even if I had taken out $100,000, I would have had $100,000.
So
And
do you feel like that's your crypto education, and now you'll
it's not just
do
crypto
things
education.
differently?
It's
Because the problem is taking out dollars right now. The dollar's dying. And so what are you going to do with that? Like, you can't just take out dollars. You have to do something with those dollars.
everything's pegged against that. So I mean, if you have dollars, you still have dollars. If you lose, your crypto drops. It's still dropping against the dollar, so you're losing. Versus if you had that,
I
even
guess for a short time.
or
Yeah.
die or whatever, I really should have taken some profit. It was money in my pocket. But at the
Yes,
same
I
time,
agree. The public awakening. The problem is we're still chasing dollars. And that's what I think you have to really, I think now is the time that We have to stop chasing the dollars. And I'm saying, talking to myself just as much as anybody else, but like really think about what's important. And it's like, if there was no money, what would you be doing? What's important to you? And start building that life. And what does that look like? You know,
And this is kind of the same thing, to not
and
sell
putting
too early.
your,
That's my problem. But it's just not taking profit. You take profit. If you have profit and you sell too early, it's so much better to be like, man, I could have made, 20% more. I could have made 100% more. Versus, because I have said, oh, I lost 100% or I lost so much. It's much better because it's money in your pocket, lad. It is. You got to take profit. So we're talking about cars, which we still need to do. But we my first car that I ever bought, I was working. I worked for the government as a 16-year-old kid. Um, Actually, they had me doing so many illegal things. Uh, I was a mail carrier, which you're not allowed to be until you're 21. I don't know how that slipped through the cracks, but I was a certified mail carrier because I had to carry all these checks. The military gave me my own personal little Dodge pickup truck, brand new. Only had AM radio, but okay, fine. But I worked for the commissary on Fort Hood, and the police would come in every day, and then there was this lady would come out from the cashier department, and she would go down to the bank and make a deposit, and she had the cops with her. But there was a secret deposit that I would make, where I would go to the military finance department, and it was like mainly checks, but there was a lot of cash and other stuff. I had probably, I'm 16 years old, by the way. I had like probably $50,000 every time I did it, 100,000, and this is in the late 80s. So this is a lot of money.
that's a lot of money for a 16-year-old to be trusted with, and that's really irresponsible of them to put you in danger like that.
See, these people, these are all old, government workers, but they're like, hey man, we got this summer worker. We can make him do all of our jobs. And I started to get pissed because I'm making minimum wage as a summer worker for the government. I'm making like $3.80 an hour, $3.50, something like that.
Oh, Mark Weems had the same car that you got rid of.
Really?
Look, 72 Monte Carlo.
72. 67 El Camino. My son's got a El Camino. It's just in storage. Yeah, mine was 72 Monte Carlo, so was mine. Anyway, so
Sean was just saying that he really regrets getting rid of that car.
I do regret it very much, but I was like 17, 16, 17. So yeah, I'm working, and like every morning, I was getting pissed because they're making like $12 an hour, $15 an hour, like really good money. And I'm doing the same job that they're doing. They're literally just hanging out at their desk now. They're giving me their jobs and their work to do. And I'm doing it for like far less money. And one of the guys is a dick. The other guy was a nice guy. His name was Joe. And he wanted to keep me. I was going to drop out of high school. Because he was like, hey man, when you're done, we can start working here for real. As this is your like your MOS, this is what the job description. I could actually get the job description for working in supply, and then I would be making like $9, $10 an hour, which was like insane, crazy money. It was like $30 an hour, $40 an hour now. As a 16-year-old, it was like, wow. But anyway, so I get up, go out early. I go to the yard where you go and get your Jeeps, tanks, whatever. I would sign out my truck. So they give me the key. Please give me the keys. I go into the yard, get it, and then I was like, running errands, doing stuff for the supply. I would drive them places. I would drive other people places, And then I make these huge deposits, and it just hit me. It's like I'm sitting here right by Mexico. I'm only 16. I wouldn't get in that much trouble. I could just drive.
I
I have
wouldn't get in that much trouble.
$100,000, and they tell me like it's really big deposit.
$100,000 and a truck.
Yeah,
And I'm 16.
and like they wouldn't even check for hours. I would be, and they wouldn't think, oh, he's gone to Mexico. But it was just weird, a weird thing to think about. So anyway, I worked my butt off. I saved up, I think like $700. I bought this 72 Monte Carlo. Sweet car. It was very nice. It wasn't nice. It was ugly. It was primer. The hood was bent. It wouldn't latch right. But so anyway, me and my friends, we had to rebuild the carburetor, and then we get on the road by my house. I floor it, and I guess the hood wasn't latched 100%, so it came up while I was driving, and it like bent
Broke
in half.
the front windshield.
Yeah, it went up, and then it bent in half. So then we got that down. So I needed to get a new
hood.
A new hood. Anyway, so this is a story. This is a funny Sean story. So
wait, I thought I was the funny one.
You are. I'm competing.
Okay, great.
I'm good. I'm good at the stories, I guess. So anyway, we 84 Camaro Z28. That's nice. Sandstorm. That's a sweet ride.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I go to this. There's this party. I had this date with this girl, and super hot girl, right? I liked her. Go to this party, and this like some friends of mine are like, man, I want to get some weed. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, let's go to Clean and get some weed. I'm like, no, I don't want to get any weed, man. We have beer, we're fine. Chill out, man. So I don't want to leave. I'm with this girl. So they're like,
you're on a date.
Hey, Jerry has a license. Why don't you let him use your car? We'll just go there and get it. And I was like, fine.
Bad idea.
Here you go. So I'm hanging out, and then it's like 30 minutes, 45. Like, where are they at? There's no cell phones. That's like a Dick Tracy sci-fi thing. It's like Captain Kirk had a cell phone. It's not even like out there yet. And so I'm starting to get kind of freaked out, like calling people's houses and stuff. And then my friends come walking back.
Oh God.
And I was like, where's my car, man? And they're like, oh, dude, we were going out of town, and then it started to like make this weird noise. So we pulled over, and then it just wouldn't start. And to start it, there was the switch. Like you turn the key to the ignition on, and then it had a toggle switch that you actually started the starter. But as soon as it started, you turned it off. Or it was just like always having your key turning it off.
Yeah, cranking it. Mm-hmm.
So they're like, I just had that.
They didn't know that.
They said they left it on and it like locked up.
Oh Lord.
I was like, why would you leave it on? I was pissed. To fuck my car up. So then I had to call someone. I got a ride. We drive out there. My car's not there. They're like, oh no, someone stole your car. Oh man, oh no. So I was like, shit. And then we're driving. So we have to go report car stolen. Someone stole my car, right? So it's like, let's go to the police station. Because there's no car and we don't use a payphone because we go to the police station. So we're going there and like we're passing cops. They're like looking at us weird and everyone's acting a little bit nervous. We get to the police station and then they're like, Sean, Jerry doesn't really have a license. We lied to you. I was like, what? It's like, you asshole. He's like, yeah, we just wanted to go and we didn't want to bother you and blah, blah. So, I don't have a license, man. I can't tell him I was driving or else I'll get in trouble. Like, you got to tell him you were driving. And then we parked the car there. And I was like, dude, why would you do that to me? I was so pissed. And they're like, yeah, we can't worry about that right now. Your car was stolen, man. You're going to have to tell him that you were driving. So I was like, all right, fine. So we walk into the police station. They're all behind me. I walk up there. I was like, hello, my name is Sean. My car was stolen. It's a 72 Monte Carlo. And then they were like, oh, really? So then she like gets on, the radio, and then like 2 or 3 cops come out. And they're like, "Come here, we'd like to talk to you." And then I was like, "Okay," and it was getting weird real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought the other guys in. They put everyone in like the chief's office. And then the guy
Together or separated, you guys?
all them guys. And then he asked me, so what happened? I was like, oh, it's the same thing. I was driving, and then there was a weird noise. I pulled over, and then the car wouldn't start. So we left it there, and we walked back to my friend's house, where I was going to use the phone, even though that was miles and miles away. When there's payphones over whatever. So I told him that's what they told me is what I told the cop. He was like, "Oh, that's what happened." It's like, "Yep, that's what happened." Left it there. He goes, "You're sure?" So, yeah. So he goes, "Well, come with me." So he takes me in a closet, and I'm like, "This is weird." He goes, "Hey, Sean, I'm just going to read you your rights real quick." Questions. I was like,
Oh
"Okay."
gosh.
And then I was like, something hit me. I was like, "Wait a minute. Now, if I lie to you, you could charge me with that." He goes, "Yeah, that's why we read your rights, because if you say anything that's not true, then we can arrest you." And I was like, "All right, screw this." They were driving. It wasn't me. No, I don't know what's going on, but I know something weird is going on. So we go in there, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, they were going to, they were gonna arrest me." I told them, "You're driving. You're screwed. You lied to me anyway." So the cop's like, "So you're driving?" He's like, "Yeah, I was driving."
Because now at this point, your friends lied to you.
Yeah.
So why should you go
Well, they
down for
lied to me
them?
from the beginning. So now I know something's up. So we're in the chief of police's office with these cops, and they're like, "So tell me what happened. What'd you do? What happened?" And then they were like, "Blah blah." And then he goes, "Same story." And he's like, "Look, I know that's a lie because I saw you. I'm the cop that you hit." And I was like, "What?"
Oh,
He goes, and they were like, yeah." So they didn't even get a block from the house we're at, and there's this dip, right? Still there, still a dip.
so he knew you didn't know about hitting the cop because you didn't mention getting in the wreck. You just thought the car broke down.
They told they told him
he knew you were innocent because you didn't know what happened to the car.
he thought because he saw them. He didn't see me in the car. But so anyway, so then they're telling the story. So they get to this thing. They hit the dip, which I hit the dip. I love to jump the dip. But they are not used to this giant, heavy-ass car. They hit the dip and go sideways, slam into a truck, right, that's parked. And then there's no dents on my car because it's a beast. They hit a truck, and then the truck hits this cop that's sitting right there and watching them do it. First off, why would you jump it when the cop's there? You should have seen him. Anyway, then they drive off. The cop goes after him a high-speed chase with another cop joining in. 2 cops, high-speed chase. My car loses the cops. They actually got away and ditched the cops. But then I think that the car got flooded or whatever, so they pull over off the highway, and then they try to restart the car, and they flood it, and then they leave the thing on and lock up the engine. So they actually got away, which actually, if they got away and came back, I would have been pulled over like the next day or whenever they ran stuff.
Yeah.
So I get really pissed as soon as they tell me they jumped the thing, and then I'm like, "What?" So I go over and just start punching my friend, like, "You son of a bitch!" Right, and then the cops are like grabbing me. I'm doing all this in front of like 3 cops, and then every time in the story he was like, "And then we did this." I was like, "What, man?" And I go back at him again.
So then you're beating up your friend in the chief of police office.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Calm down," and I was like, I was not calm.
And they set you up to take the fall for all of it.
Yeah, and then they lied to me to set me up to get in trouble for it.
To walk into the police station and take the fall for all of it.
I was driving.
Yeah.
So we ended up telling the story to the cops.
Those are accomplices, not friends.
Yeah,
that's a difference.
Then the cops like, "Okay, so it's my car. My car is broke down." He's like, "All right, tell you what, we're gonna let you go. Don't have to worry about anything. You," which they should have hit me for just letting an unlicensed driver drive my car. Should have got a big ass ticket. another funny story happened to me, and I had to do that, like a couple of years ago. But for my nephew, who lied to me, told me he had a license, and then hit the mailbox down the street. But so they let him go. I think he got a ticket for like a unsafe speed or something, like for like if you're spinning your tires. But he was going to have to pay for the guy's truck. That was a whole different thing. But they just let us go. So my friend's mom comes and picks us up, and I'm still pissed because they now I'm not in trouble. Everything's fine, but they still broke my car.
Right.
And so we're in their van, and his mom's like, "All right, so who narked? Who narked on everybody?" And they're like, "Sean." I was like, "Hell yeah, I did."
That's the biggest concern she
Yep,
has.
I said, "Hell yeah, I did. It was me." And I was like, "You guys trying to get me in freaking trouble?" And then they're like, "Yeah, Sean did narc, but it was kind of our fault because we tried to get him arrested for hitting a cop."
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, then we go to my car. I had to get it towed home, and the whole engine was locked. The whole engine was locked up. Where it sat for a long time, probably could have broke it free. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I was a kid with no job, so my parents started getting pissed. They're like, "It's an eyesore," and then the city's like trying to give me a ticket because my car's ugly, and it was primer. So I had to.
Did you ever get a hood for it?
Yeah, well, I had a hood. It was bent, and
okay.
so I had to buy a tarp and then tarp it over, so the city wouldn't give me a ticket for having like an ugly thing. Our city is terrible. They'll give you a ticket for farting. So any kind of way they can get money from you, they will. And then my parents were just on my back about it constantly. And I remember my ex-wife, when I met her, she had like a brand new Monte Carlo because she was, her parents spoiled her.
You love the Monte Carlos.
And I was like, "I have a Monte Carlo also." She goes, "Oh, you do?" I was like, "Yeah." And
then she saw it.
Yeah, and she laughed. She goes, "Oh," it's like, "That's your Monte Carlo." I was like, "Yes, that's my Monte Carlo." He goes, "Ha ha ha ha." But I was like, "It's a muscle car. It's not like your car."
That's funny.
But my parents were like on me, like, "You get that out of here. I'm gonna have it towed away." And just jumped, thrown away. So I got $50 from my 72 Monte Carlo.
Oh God!
They came and picked it up. They're like, "We'll tow it away." I was like, "Well, how much you give me for it?" Like, "Nothing. We'll tow it for free. You don't have to pay us." I'm like, "Screw you, man. It's a car. It's a car. There's things that are worth on. I mean, just the beauty rings alone. There's things you can't get anymore." Yeah. So they're like, "I get $50. That's it." And now they're worth like $70,000 to $120,000, which my friend tells me about all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's what Charlie and I, we love the cars. We love the old cars. We were looking through. We started on American Pickers because I was trying to find this pottery, Francoma pottery, that's popular here in Oklahoma. Well, it's not really popular, but was made here in Oklahoma. It's kind of collector stuff. It's from an artist here in Oklahoma. And I had a few pieces, and my sister had a few pieces, and then we found a piece at his mom's house. We've been helping her, and so I was trying to look up, well, could we find any videos on that? And anyway, then we got into the car stuff, and once we go down that whole rabbit hole, then we're like watching videos about cars and trucks, and trying to find the truck that when my mom and dad got together, my dad had this I think it was a 41. Charlie thinks it's a 43. I can't remember what year my dad said it was, but Ford that, he was gonna fix it up. He and I were gonna fix it up, and so now that's on my list. I have a list of Wind Moon, all the different cars, and I want to get and fix up, and but then I don't want to just like have them sit there. So then Charlie and I were talking like maybe one day we could have like a garage that like employs or is like a school or something, and maybe it helps kids who like are, you know, aging out of foster care or leaving, or kids that are want to learn how to do that kind of stuff. And then maybe that's, you know, people that are coming out of prison. I don't know, somehow helping people get into the workforce, or people that are struggling or whatever. It kind of be like a school place. And then we could have project cars that they could learn on. And then we auction the car off, and somehow that benefits everybody. And that way we could kind of get it out of our system and still have those fix up and car experiences, but it helped people. So like, that's the way I want to be able to like win moon crypto, like still be able to have cool, fun experiences and experience those cool, nice things, but have it like help people too.
My
You know,
that car would go super fast, you know, especially high end. What is it when you're going
like top out.
top end? That's it. Top end was really high. But I don't know. I forget where I was going. Everyone's talking about cars. Fastest I ever went. She didn't even know. My friend Robert, who I named my son after, he had this. It's the worst piece of crap. Little Datsun pickup truck that we barely fit in together. It was so small, and it had no brakes. I don't mean it had bad brakes. It had no brakes.
Well, that seems unsafe.
So I can't fathom how unsafe it is right now. And I used to force him to go places in it. He used to have to use the
Emergency brake
to slow down. Yeah,
so he would not just gear down and then use the emergency brake.
Yeah, both. He would have to do both to slow down, and we still barely stopped. And he couldn't. And it took a long time to stop. So there's like one highway that runs through the town. And it's a pretty big highway. And I was over at his house. And that was the fastest ever. It went like 115 in that. It was rattling, rust everywhere in that thing. It was falling apart. It was tiny. And we're going from here to Gatesville, the next town over. And there's this giant hill called Hard Bargain, where it's hard for like a regular car to get up this hill. And we're like, dude, we're not gonna be able to get up the hill. He's like, we have to get up to like a super high speed. So he's flooring it, and we're going faster and faster, and we hit like 90, and the whole truck is like shaking apart. I was so scared. Still, it's like one of the most scared I've ever been, because we were going so fast and everything's shaking. It was like being on a motorcycle, this tiny little car that's literally falling apart, or truck. And we hit like 100 something, and then we hit the hill, and we start slowing down, but we made it to the top of the hill. But we're over at his house one night, and I couldn't get a hold of my girlfriend. I'm like, dude, she's over at a friend's house. I know something's going on. I got a weird feeling. He goes, dude, it's fine. I was like, no one's answering the phone, man. That's what they do. When she's like, her parents are calling. We like leave the phone off the hook. Now the phone's off the hook. I was like, dude, I think she's cheating on me. There's someone over there. It's like, no, Sean, no one's cheating on you, man. I'm telling you. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure. It's like, take me over there. He's like, I can't go over there. That's across town. We have to cross the highway. Got no brakes. I was like, all right, whatever, man. Thought you were my friend, but you know, whatever. It's cool.
You're not willing to risk your life for my.
Like, I thought if it was your girlfriend, I was like, yeah, I know you would do it. I was like, yeah. So I was like, fine, let's go. So we get over there, and we're coming to the part where we're gonna have to cross the highway, which we were gonna die. It was either we're gonna die or we're not gonna die. There's no middle ground, because either there's cars coming and we couldn't stop, or there was no cars because it was like
it was Frogger.
It's like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
In the Datsun with
so we
two
go.
teenage boys.
Was it Datsun?
Boys.
Did I say it was a Datsun?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, how did you guess it was a Datsun? It was tiny. Look it up. Datsun pickup truck. It was like 70 something.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we go. There's no cars. Luckily, we make it across. And then we get there. I get out. He goes home. She's not cheating on me. Everything's fine. She cheated on me a lot later, but so we go. I was wrong then, but definitely happened later. Go over there, and then I'm like, you just leave me here, man. He goes home, and his dad is really strict, like super strict, right? Like like terrible. He's a sergeant major, and when I go home the next day, as I drive by his house, his parents they enclosed the garage, so they had this extra room that was like a den, and it looked really nice. There was bricks in the front, had like a built-in flower pot in brick. He crashed into the house because he had
Oh
no,
no.
and all the bricks were all broken around it, and like the whole front was pushed in.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, oh man. So I called him, and he was like, dude, I'm in so much trouble. I hit the house, and the whole wall broken. And I was like, you know what you got to do? Because my dad's gonna like kick me out of the house and disown me, and after he beats me with a bat. And I'm like, all right, man, here's what you do. You flip it. He's like, I can't flip. I was like, dude, you flip it. You've got to get angry. And he's like, there's no way I can yell at him. I was like, you got to yell at him, dude. You got to tell him, why would you make me drive that unsafe truck? How come you never fix the brakes? I'm just a child. And he was like, there's no way I can do that. I was like, you got to do it, Robert. You've got it. It's your only hope, or else you're going to have to come over here. And I don't want you to live here. I love you, but no. I don't even know if my parents are going to let you live here. So his dad comes home. So he's like, why wouldn't you fix the brakes? I had to go. And then he's like, I had to go to 7-Eleven because we had no milk or something. Don't bring my name into it. His dad hated me. His dad was like, that boy's a bad influence.
Well, obviously you were.
I a little bit of a bad influence. So,
You were.
but yeah, he worked. He didn't get kicked out of his house or anything. And they fixed it. Like, he had to fix it though. So you could always see it was like there was like a crack and then like cement in these. It was very funny, very funny.
Terrible. Well, I think we've killed cars. Everybody is putting in the comments all these really cool cars, which I'm loving seeing all this. Because like I said, I'm such a car girl. That would be fun to have like a car meetup, a crypto car meetup. When crypto's moon this next year, in the spring, next spring we need to do a crypto car meetup.
What was your y'all put in your first off, please hit the crush the like button on my channel and on Lisa's channel.
Yes.
If you're on my channel, can you bounce over to her channel, hit the like button? If you're on her channel, can you bounce over to mine?
And make sure you're subscribed to both, please.
Yeah, subscribe to both, please. I want to know, put in the chats what your first car was, or your second car, whichever one is more funny. What was your first car, Lisa?
Well, like which one did I drive?
Yeah.
Or what was my first that like I bought?
Both.
So, the first thing I drove, I learned to drive. My dad, Papa T, taught me to drive. He's a very brave man. He not only married a single mom with 4 children during like the oil bust of the 80s. He's a very brave man. He taught me to drive, and I am like a crazy Need for Speed driver, clearly. And he's very patient. He taught me to drive a stick shift. It was a Mazda 626 diesel sedan, of course. And so that's what he taught me to drive. But we were at the farm, so I was driving tractors before that, hauling hay with my sisters, and we'd all, already we had this, we had a couple farm trucks. So we had like this Ford that was off of the Reed Ranch. So it was painted like the ranch colors, all the trucks were painted the same color. So if we took it into town, somebody thought we were part of the Reed Ranch. It was red and white Ford. And then there was like this flatbed Chevy that we could put it in first gear, and nobody really needs to drive that. You just put it in first gear and point it down point it down the field, and then we'd take turns, up on top of the thing, and you'd bounce a hay bale on your knee, and we'd turn the radio up loud, and we'd be singing and throwing hay bales with each other, and then, but mostly a lot of tractor time. So maybe my first car was a tractor. I don't know. We had a Massey Ferguson, an old Massey Ferguson that I learned to drive on probably first. And then when I graduated high school, I lived out in Arizona and worked and saved up enough money to put a down payment on a car. But I was, young and whatever. So my dad and mom co-signed for me, and then I started making payments on. But they decided I couldn't pick it out because they co-signed for me. So my dad picked out a brown, as in the color of poo-poo, Geo Prism, most horrible looking thing. So it's actually the same thing as a Toyota Corolla, I guess, but it was like some collaboration with like Chevy or something. I don't know. It's really just a turd, but it was, had cheap gas and it was fine. It was just not a beautiful car. So then when I had the opportunity, once I was like working and could get a car that was something cute, I got a little Mazda MX-3 that was bright red, and I liked it.
Speaking of bright, so I had bought that car. That was my first car. It was the Monte Carlo. I worked for it, saved up, bought it. My grandfather paid for the insurance on it.
That's nice.
So my stepdad was not a good dad. We had problems. We're great now. He was a great grandfather, but it was very weird because he was it's like if it was legal or if it was illegal, it's 100% against it. Very not a big like critical thinker kind of person back then, or still now. He's 100%, bought the media thing, whatever.
Right.
But he was in the military, hated Clinton, but he couldn't say anything because he was in the military. But anyway, so I passed my drive. I took driver's ed, and we took our written test. I was 15, and I passed, of course, because you have to pass. It's ridiculous. I could have not taken driver's ed and still passed. It's like a picture of a stop sign. What does this mean? And then it's multiple choice. Stop, go, slow down, go to lunch. It's just like that. Mm-hmm. So I walk out. He's like, "You passed?" Like, "Yeah, I passed. I got my permit." He's like, "Okay, drive us home." And I was like, I've never driven a car. I mean, I actually had a Mercedes when I was a kid, like 14. No, when I was 12, I had a Mercedes. But,
what?
Yeah, but
how is that a thing?
I had this Mercedes when I was 12. That's another thing. Me and my stepdad. My stepdad didn't like me. He told my mother that when they started dating. It's like, "I really like you, but I hate your son. I don't like him. He's an asshole."
And she stayed with him.
Yeah, that's a bit of
contention. That wouldn't work out.
So my mom sent me to live with my aunt and my uncle Ted for like 3 months, and it was I was a mama's boy, single. I'm a broken home, not a single parent home. It was called a broken home when I was a kid, and so I was a mama's boy. I was like a ridiculous mama's boy, and I was a pussy, the whole schmeal. So my mom sends me to live with my aunt and uncle, and I changed a lot in those 3 months. I went to Catholic school. I got in with the bad Catholic kids. I learned, I started listening to heavy metal, which I never even freaking heard of.
Oh, and that's when you started wearing all the eyeliner and stuff.
Smoking in the boys' room, all that kind of stuff. And so I come back, get off the plane. I'm wearing my Quiet Riot shirt, my denim jacket. I literally went off with like bushy hair and orange corduroy pants, and my mother dressed me.
Yeah,
it's not a joke. My mother dressed me. I came back and I was smoking. I get off the plane, and my mom is literally like, freaked out.
Yes.
So I'm an adult now. I'm 11 or 12. I'm an adult. I'm 11. I'm 100%. I'm an adult, right? And
an adult at 11. No,
so
you're not.
yeah, my mom takes us to go get something to eat, this like little cafe, and then my soon-to-be stepdad's there, and then my mom's like, so if me and Dad have been dating, while you've been gone, and everything's going great, and he wants to be your friend, and he's asked me to marry him, and I want to leave that up to you. If you say it's okay, then we're going to get married. If you don't want us to, then I'm not going to get married, and blah, blah, blah. So I take a puff. Ma, I've learned past few months growing up a lot.
You're smoking at 11 with your mother?
It was a shock, dude. I can't tell you the difference between the mama's boy I was when I got on the plane and what walked off the plane. And I'm trying to push it really hard because, like,
you have to establish. Yeah.
Yes, I'm establishing dominance. Yes. And so I'm like, I want you to be happy, Mom. I want you to live your life and do what makes you happy. I'm happy. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do the things that I'm happy and make me happy, that I enjoy, whatever they are, baby. And you do what makes you happy. Because that's what's important to me. All right? You guys get married. Go and have a nice life. I'm going to live my life and do what I want. It didn't happen that way. But,
no.
She's
if you were my kid, oh, Lord.
Well, that's what happened. And then he's like, because he's like a very conventional. That's one thing he didn't like that I spoke. He's like, you are a boy. You're a child. You're not supposed to talk. I'm like, hey, why don't you eat my shorts, man? So, and I was an asshole. I was a little bit of an asshole.
Yes,
I would try to like prank him and do shit to him, get on his nerves. I was a dick, but I was 11 or 10, 11. So anyway, he's like, you can't smoke. I'm like, yeah, I can. And then, it's like, whose beer is this? It's my beer, man. He's like, you're 11. You can't have beer. Like, we live in Europe. It's legal. I bought it myself. So shut up. We're not even on a base. So they start.
So that was part of it, was you were living in Europe and then you found out about what you could do.
It's a very different way. Plus, I was always very independent. I was like a latchkey kid, and I had all this freedom and responsibility. But I was like a baby, So I was like, I would clean the house, come home from school, clean the house, get everything ready, cook or whatever. And my mom would come home from working and be like, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" Yeah. And now I'm like but also I'm huge. Remember, I'm 5'11" and like 190 pounds.
About how old you were, and so you were treated as you were older.
Exactly. It was like I walked off the plane. If I was a little kid smoking, everyone would be looking, but I wasn't. I was 5'11", 190 pounds.
With a beard. Yeah.
Smoking. Yeah. So it was like, oh, it's some 19-year-old or something. Yeah. So I go to school, and now I'm like full on rebellion, moving into that whole area. But then and all my friends are still normal kids, so they're like, oh, you're obviously a bad, which I just thought they didn't like me, but there's there were bad kids there. There was a lot of bad kids.
They were just afraid of you.
Yeah, or they weren't. That was another thing, they weren't. So I would get in a lot of fights because I was like a pussy, a few months before, the year before. I was always big, but I was like a softie. Now I realized I was big and could beat the crap out of you. But that's when I started hanging out with like high school kids, and then like bad high school kids. So then we, went down that whole road. And me and my stepdad did not get along because we would get into like fist fights and I'm 11 or 12 and I could hold my own, but he was like 6'7". He's a huge dude, and he would take me down. So, then I started hanging out with the really bad guys, the organized, crime stuff. I don't know if I ever told you about that.
No.
Oh, it was really bad. So I got into organized crime when I was 12. And we ran. I was in a group of like-minded individuals. Some people call it a gang. but it was very organized, and we sold drugs and did other things. But we also paid off like a lot of the police and officials and other stuff.
In Germany.
Yeah. Um, the State Department and Interpol ended up getting involved, which is how I ended up here.
Interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, those people threatened my stepfather to not touch me again. That we're never again or else. He'd be in trouble because we had other like military officials paid off, so he would get in trouble like legally with them. Plus, they would beat the shit out of him. So I didn't have that hanging over me, but that was never home. I was drinking all the time, doing a little bit of drugs. Then this is a weird story. I want to tell you a story about my car. But anyway, then what happened was the State Department was doing this like 3-month long investigation with Interpol into us, and we got notified because we had people that we had paid that were involved, and it got leaked that everything was about to come down where everyone's gonna get arrested. So 4 of us, like the top 4 people, our parents came down with immediate orders, and they broke us up and sent us to different places around the country. I went to Texas. One guy went to Georgia. One guy went to New York. Someone else went to California, and one person went
So
somewhere.
you were here in the U.S. or you were in Germany?
No,
they sent you all
Germany.
back to
So everyone's going to get arrested, and we get
okay.
Somebody leaked it to our people that we had paid off in the military and in the police about the investigation that they're getting warrants, everything's about to go down. So our parents got put on immediate orders for us to leave the country. So 4 or 5 of us left within 2 weeks. We came here. My mom was really pissed, but our parents didn't know. They just got this weird, like orders that we had to leave within 2 weeks for Texas. So we got here. Then there was the big thing that happened there. Like probably 50 people got arrested. Everyone just got deported, though. I mean, like a lot of like the suppliers and things got in trouble that were not, but like all of us or all the Americans, they got deported. Their parents got deported back to the United States.
Bizarre.
So being here in Texas, I got an influx of those people because a lot of people go from Germany to Texas because that's where the same division is. And a lot of people are like, dude, you got out of there just in time, man. They had all these pictures and videos and close-ups of you doing stuff and everyone doing stuff and blah, blah. I was like, oh, man, that's terrible. So that's how I ended up here in Texas. But it was a big change. I came here, went to my parents. Then I didn't have the gang protecting me from my stepdad, which is that's for me, that's like horrifying. That's another story, actually. We had to live we came here, and I was like, it was used to Germany. We lived in Germany for years, where it was in the snow. I wouldn't need a coat. Like I could just wear a flannel shirt, and I was fine. We came here, and it was 117. So it was like one of the worst heat waves ever.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I know. I bought them exactly, JDO. I bought a 73 Monte Carlo. That's how it started. So anyway, we come here, and we're in a hotel, right? We came here in like June, and I turned 14. Was it 14? I turned 13 here. So we came here in June. I turned 13, and I'm all alone in this like hotel. There's like one kid, and he's leaving. It's like this for military people that are coming and leaving, or at this hotel. And my parents were looking for a house. They're buying a house, so they're building it. So now we're going to be there for months while it's being built. So I had no one to talk to except for like the maids. So I would talk to I was super good friends with all the maids, old ones, young ones. I was just always like hanging out, and they were the only people there I could talk to. Um, so I'm close with the maids. So my stepdad comes home, and it's hot. Me and my mother don't leave the room. We just like sit in the window because we didn't know the earth could be that hot. We're just like, oh wow, look out there. Ugh. So
Because you were from up north
up
before
north,
this,
yeah, and then we lived
and
in
then you
Germany.
went to Germany, and now you're in Texas, so you've
Yes,
not experienced
no,
the South. Yeah.
yeah, and then my stepdad comes back, and he's like pissed about something, and he's like, you need to go feed the dogs, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna, but I'm waiting for the sun goes down because I don't want to turn to ash. So we start arguing, and he picks up this 50-pound bag of dog food, or it was huge, maybe it was like 100 ounces, giant, and he throws it at me. So it hits me, and I slam into the door, bust the door open, and I go out we're on the second floor, so I hit the balcony, the guardrail,
The railing.
and the dog food hits me and busts open. And then so the maids see this, and then I'm like, oh, and I'm 13 now, or I'm not still 12, maybe 13. I am much tougher now. I could take him. Plus, I'd been growing up and had been part of some violence, in those years. So, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna fight. And then the MPs come and they grab him, and the maids are like, "Oh, the sweet boy," and he was throwing dog food. It's a mean man, and this is the nicest, because I was friends with all the maids.
Yeah.
So they're like, "He's such a sweet boy." And so the MPs are like, "Okay, so we're gonna arrest him for domestic violence and go to jail if you want to press charges." So and he's like in handcuffs, very dramatic, because he's like I told you, very like a traditional. Like the thing he gets the maddest about is just that I am who I am, because I should be silent and yes sir, no sir, and I'm like, I am, over the top a little bit. So anyway, he's wrong, but I'm a bit over the top. So I was like, oh, so I have the control to put him in jail. He's like, yeah. I was like, what happened? I was like, he'll be in a lot of trouble. He's gonna lose his rank. This is all stuff.
Yeah. No, it's huge.
My mom is like, Sean, we just come to this fucking godforsaken state. We are being baked alive, and you're gonna make him lose his money. He's like, I know. And I was like, well, when can I have him? Can I have him arrested later? They're like, oh yeah, you can anytime. You just call us, so we'll come arrest him for it. This is the military, dude. It doesn't work the same way. You call us like 2-3 years from now. We'll just arrest him for the same thing. I was like, oh.
Is that true? Yeah. Really?
Yeah, well, military works a lot different. Back then, if you're gay, you go to prison. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So now, anytime we'd have an argument, it's like, hey, do you want me to have you arrested? Do you? I didn't think so. So you better shut up.
Oh my gosh.
Now
that seems very unhealthy.
Instead of the gang, instead of the gang, I now had that. So there's no more fighting, no more, no
threats of violence.
Yeah, no more threats of violence, no more physicality. And then, but then my parents put me in private school, and that was, I got my ass kicked all the time there. It was a huge wake up call, because I didn't do much in school for years, because they had to pass you in government school. Even if you got all Fs, you went to the next grade. So I got all Fs except for gym, and I probably went through like 2 or 3 grades of all Fs. So I was supposed to be going into high school, and
why is that? Because you're very intelligent, just you refuse to do the work.
Yeah, I just didn't do any work. So I had to. They were looking at like putting me in the 8th or 7th grade, or 8th grade, and I was like, no. So my parents sent me to private school, where I made up like 2 years or 3 years in 1 year. But like for passing a note, they beat me with a board. It was like the first time they're like, I remember we're having an international day, and everybody was supposed to bring like different potluck of a different country. And my and I was like the worst, the most evil person at the school, because I listened to heavy metal, and I like wore shirts with a skull on them or whatever, so I was like really bad, like the things that they think were so terrible, which is I needed, because to me, like something that was really terrible was like drugs or hookers, and I got brought back to earth where something for me that was super terrible was listening to Quiet Riot or Def Leppard.
Oh,
it was a big,
yeah.
I was able to kind of come back to reality, and then so I'm like, we're gonna have Greek food and Italian food, and I raised my hand, I'm like, what's Italian food?
Yes, you've told me this story.
Yeah, it's like, don't you shut up, Anderson. I'm like, I don't know what Italian food is. I don't know. So they're like, that's it. So I got my first beating for that. And I'm like, what? And they're like, like spaghetti and lasagna. And I'm like, oh, Italian food. And they were like, that's it. Get it in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And
they thought you were making fun of.
You're saying it weird, man. You're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half Italian. I know how to pronounce it. And they're like, look, I warned you one more thing, you're gonna get swatted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, dude, you're not hitting me with a board. Come on. This is the United States, for God's sake.
Right.
No, not gonna happen. I'm 13, I'm 14 now, no. Or I was 13. You're not gonna hit me. You're an adult. You don't do that. And then I was like, said, get up on here, bend over, grab the desk. I'm like, no. It's like, you can call my mom. I'm gonna sue you. I'm going to sue you for a lot of money. No way. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, your mom signed all these forms. I'm going to hit you 3 times. So I called my mom. My mom's like, I don't really like that. Like, you signed the papers. It's like, well, we'll kick him out. And she was like, no, okay. Hit the crap out of him. So, and
wrong.
I lost like all control. I had no, I was, it took away all my what's the word I'm looking for? All the wind out of my sails. I wasn't a badass. I was like, I was a kid that could be beaten whenever. So I was like, that was brought me back down to earth a lot.
Felt like totally disempowered.
Yeah, big time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was scared and worried, like, oh, I said, gosh darn it, no. I was where before
like
I was
couldn't protect yourself.
I was just worried about, cussing. And now like I'm worried about much more. So it did change me a lot for the good in that way. That was like a year, and then that's
how confusing. So the boundaries just kept changing for you so dramatically.
Yeah, they're dramatic.
That it just really messed with your mental state as a kid.
Yeah. And then but then like I knew that was extreme. And then but I also knew that I was living before it was extreme. So like I would just tell my parents I'm leaving. I'm 12.
Like, what is reality?
I'll be back for 3 days. I'm going to Amsterdam. I'll be back in 3 days. We're going to Copenhagen. That's like insane for me to think about now. Like, if my 12-year-old kid would be like, "Hey, I'm going to go to Vegas. Be back in 2 days."
That is
it wasn't weird, but it wasn't that weird, and it wasn't that weird for like European culture even. Also, because I looked so much older, so it's not weird for like a 16, 17-year-old to do that. 12-year-old.
Yes, it is weird for a 16, 17-year-old. In my house, that would be weird.
Not in Europe, though, especially not for that time.
Oh.
But anyway, so then I went to start going to public school, and it was kind of like that in the middle. I was just a regular rebellious youth.
Yeah. And, don't get me wrong. I spanked my kids when they were little if they needed it. But to me, that's like you're spanking like with your hand, or I used a wooden spoon to swat them so it would make noise. But that was like little kids, because they don't understand the conversation of it. And you're trying to, get a point across of like you're causing pain to stop where they're putting themselves in danger, and to stop a behavior where they're putting themselves or someone else in danger. Like I understand that. But once you can have a conversation with them, then swatting a kid that you can have a conversation with, you lost, because that means you're not intelligent enough to get your point across, to have that conversation. I mean, I just beating up a child that you can have a conversation with that's able to comprehend that, then you're the loser. And I just
Yeah,
don't.
I always thought it was because I never, I had 4 boys, but I knew it's like way more inappropriate to spank like a girl, in like the later years. It's like just weird. But that's
I don't know.
it's a scary time though, if you're raising a bunch of kids by yourself, to like you can't spank them anymore. It's just up to like their respect, you know. Which is one thing was like I never told Robert, but it always surprised me because he would like sneak out of his room and then go do terrible bad stuff. And when he was really really young, and I would like go search the town and look for him, and he was hiding in bushes. And but as soon as I saw him, I was like, Robert, that's it. He was like, oh okay. But all he had to do was run off. I mean, he's already in trouble. He already snuck out. He's already
Right. He knows he's in trouble.
he
Yeah.
could just run off and had the rest of the night. But he would always just, oh, you got me, and then he would get in the truck, get in the van, and like, whoa.
Wow. Yeah. Raising kids is tough. I mean, and each kid is so different too. Like, I have one kid that I could just tell them I'm disappointed and they would be crushed,
That's his brother was that way, and I used to say that exact thing. I
Mm.
when Robert was a baby, like a baby, I would smack his butt, and he'd look at me and be like, "Didn't hurt,"
Like, come at me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Bam!" I was like, "It have to be like, okay, you got 3." He was like, "No problem."
Yeah.
And then his brother, I could just look at him and be like, "I really
I'm
can't
so
believe he did that," and he was just like,
just devastated.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
it was."
Yeah.
And
They're
then,
so
why aren't you hitting
different.
him? I'm like, why didn't you cry? Like he's obviously broken. And
Yeah.
I remember this conversation they had. I was like outside their room. I mean, Robert was, I was like yelling at him. He was, you know, and then he went, and I could hear him. His brother, his Nick, was like, Robert, why do you say that stuff to Dad? He's like, I can't believe it. He's like, what's Dad gonna do? He's not gonna like kick me out or punch me or something. He's like, I don't know. Because he's like, are you scared of Dad? He goes, yes, I'm horrified of him. He's like, why? He's never done anything terrible to us. He's like, yeah, but he could. And you're doing all this stuff. It's really bad. I don't know. It's like, Dad's not going to do anything to you, man. That's it. You got to realize that, dude. I know he's not going to do anything super bad. I'm going to get grounded or something, but then I'm going to sneak out. And then I open the door like, oh, you're going to sneak out? No. But yeah, very different people, different kids.
Yeah. And Daddy was right. They'd rather you hurt them than take away a phone. And that's when I'm saying, like, cause pain. Like, if you're causing pain to stop what would be a bigger pain for them or someone else in the future. So whatever that pain is, like, if just beating a teenager, yeah, they'd rather you spank them, or whatever. You're not really thinking about what's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I would.
you're not really thinking about what the most
I
effective
got
thing
it
is.
later on, easy. I was like, hey man, you failed this test, you did this, whatever it was you did. I'm gonna go erase all your saved games on
Oh,
Shining Force. They're like, what? It's like it
wow.
took me like a week. I'm like, yeah, but now I'm gonna go erase it.
Yep.
It's like, no, Dad, please.
You know the consequences. Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna erase all your saved games.
Yeah.
And that was like the worst. I'm gonna take away all your ringtones. It's like, no. I was like, yeah. So that it was definitely, yeah, but you had to do that like by kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Each kid, it's different.
I'm trying to see. Eventually lost recess privileges sent to the library. Yeah, there is. It's another thing. You got to give him praise always.
Yes. For sure.
I appreciate the good things they do. Okay. Yeah. Teenagers are the worst, dude. That was because I think it's for everyone because everyone knows what a basic thing is to raise a kid. You know what you should do, you know what kids should do. But when they're teenagers, like you were such a shit when you're a teenager. You know what I mean?
I think I was a great kid. My mom has a different memory of that, but
Exactly. We have different memories. Like
I have a different memory of that.
used to hit my mom. Well, you did this terrible thing.
Oh, I would never, do
She was
something like that.
What? What are you talking about now? My kids are like, yeah, you did terrible stuff. I was like, no. Okay, I would be
No.
like, hey, if you don't do this, you're going to go live in the orphanage.
No, I just was very independent, and I just did what, like, I was fine, and I just took care of myself, and I did my own thing, and my mom thought that that was me, like, not needing them, and she took it personal, and so I was like, no, I just don't need you to raise me, so
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
yeah.
Hardcore.
But they weren't around a lot because they were doing oil and gas work. So, like, when you're not around because they're working so much, then you learn to become independent,
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the problem I had because I had learned to be independent when it wasn't a normal thing.
Yeah.
I use the term latchkey kid. People don't even know.
But that was pretty common for our generation because the women were burning their bras and then they were told that they can have everything.
Burning the bra, all that kind of stuff is people
But
don't know.
those were our moms and they were told they could have everything. And that was a big lie. You can't have everything. You've got to give up something. And so they were still having families, but then told to go have this big career. And meanwhile, the kids are figuring it out,
Yeah, and I mean, my mom did a great job. I did,
Yeah.
but there's so much that I, you know, did myself. But I think the biggest difference, and that's having a moment here. I think that's why we have such a realization about life today, even though it was similar. Society was different. There
Mhm.
wasn't a society wasn't trying to fuck me up. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It was shaming my mom for doing what she was doing, but it wasn't trying to get me to be gay or
Oh,
whatever. You know what I
right.
mean? It was everything else was not the way it is today. It,
It didn't seem as dangerous as it is now.
it wasn't as dangerous. There was, it wasn't as dangerous. There wasn't as many.
Boy Scouts weren't marching in the Pride Parade, and
Yeah, the Boy Scouts were Boy Scouts. That was a big thing for me that helped me to kind of be more grounded. My parents forced me to go to Boy Scouts. I don't want to go to, I don't want to hang out with these nerds, And then I went, and I'm the coolest fucking guy in the world, and they were like, "Oh, you're not cool. What you do is not cool." And I was like, "What do you mean?
interesting.
I got hash. What do you?" They're like, "No, no, thank you. You're not cool." And I realized, oh, I can be it's cool. It's okay for me, and I can be
It's
accepted
cool to be a good kid.
being a good, yeah, And then that was a very different, and I had is different friends, completely different.
Mhm.
I could be a different person. We could go camping, and I was not worried about being super cool. And and then of course I was super cool because I wasn't trying to get people to do bad stuff. Um, yeah, it was. I would still try, but it was just different stuff. It was like, hey, let's sneak out of here and go to the movie theater and come
Mhm.
back before anybody notices, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Oh,
like the
that's
Boy
fun.
Scouts was really really good.
Oh,
Except
that's
when
cool.
I got arrested, I was waiting for Boy Scouts, and the police were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Waiting
Yes,
for
you
Boy
told
Scouts."
me.
Like, come with me. Come with us. You're under arrest. Like,
We
what?
don't believe you at all.
Where's your ID? I don't have one. I'm 12. Yeah.
Sorry, we're not buying what you're selling. Well, Heck of a story. So I've got the tickets are live for Team Mighty event on August 6th in Oklahoma City. And I've got the link in the description on my channel, and you guys can check that out. We've started selling those, and we've got one VIP after party ticket sold. If you're interested in those, you can go to my channel, litecoinlisa.net, and go to the contact page and send me a message and let me know that you're interested in a VIP after party ticket. That will be just the people that were speaking at the event, and then the VIP ticket holders that are going to. I've got private tables at a place that we're going to go dance and hang out and have a great time.
Awesome.
So
And remember,
if you
hit the like button, go back and forth. My video, Lisa's, go on to mine after it's a regular live and comment so you're entered to win some crypto that I'm going to give away probably next weekend. So all you got to do is leave a comment and be subscribed, and you're good to go.
Very good. Very good.
And TPA will be there on August 6th.
Yes. And yeah, Public's going to be there. Bixweir, Johnny Litecoin. We've got a lot of people coming in. So it's going to be a really great event. Sean, hopefully you can possibly come up.
Hopefully.
Consider coming up.
Consider.
Okay. I'll let you consider. I will not pin you down, but you can consider it.
All right.
So
Well, it's super cool hanging out with everybody. We went really long.
And I'm glad everybody in the chat was participating. Appreciate it. Make sure that you go and make a comment. It does help the channels when you guys comment even after the live chat. If you'll go back and comment on both, something fun to do would be go ahead and put your favorite car or that you owned, or let's do the car thing.
I hope you were all entertained.
It rises up like a storm.
Was it Bitcoin?
Yes, it was.
I hope Bitcoin rises like a storm. I'm ready for that.
Me too.
We need all those things to go up. But be careful out there. And like Sean said, when it does, take some profits and look at your life and think about, like, what do you want this thing to look like going forward? And, pay some stuff off and take care of your family and your friends.
Or just suck it away for the next dip.
Yeah.
And then
because there will be more dips.
When the dips come, you can buy them.
Yeah.
When you're complaining, oh, I wish it was cheaper, man. I remember back when it was.
Yeah.
When it was, you can buy some.
And you'll have some more to buy. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time on The New Norm. And
take care.
Sean, take care.
Bye-bye.